Welcome again to my YouTube channel, everybody. Today we're going to be discussing something that I believe is going to be very helpful for most entrepreneurs in the house. And this topic is about securing finance for your business. Now, why am I talking about this? This is because I am I live in Nigeria, Africa, and there's so many people who feel that it is very difficult. I mean, by index, it is difficult to do business in the country, and so many people are feeling that they can't do it on their own. They need help. So many people have good business ideas. So many people have gone through business schools. They've gone through so many different ways to see how they can make money. However, they are still stuck in capital and all those things because most people just know about commercial banks and working in being knowing that I've worked in a commercial bank in the past. It is tough getting money from commercial banks in Nigeria because they do very strict due diligence and they want you to have track record. In fact, most commercial banks want to base the money that we give to you on an already existing cash flow. And if you're an entrepreneur with no already existing cash flow ideas and great execution plan and all those many things, and you still want to get this money either ways, you know that because many people just know that okay, it's only commercial banks that they know of, so they feel that okay, it is hard to raise funding for their businesses. However, there are so many other ways that somebody can get ready to make money and get investors for his or her business in the form of maybe debt or equity. Just if just hold on, let me do something on my on here. Okay, so let me just share this. Okay, all right. Let's just give me a moment. Give me a second. I want to put something here. Okay, and then let me also go on my LinkedIn and post the link to this video. Let's join the session on YouTube. Posts. Okay, so um, all right. So now let's get back to what we're talking about: raising financing for your business. Sorry, I just had to do one or two things on my phone. All right, thank you. Okay, back to the topic of the day: raising financing for your business. Now, I'm going to be talking from my head knowledge and from my experience. So I hope that this is actually very beneficial to whoever is listening, and I hope that you actually get something out of this. Now, being an entrepreneur is not easy. Trust me, it's not easy because I've been in the game. I've had blood in the water. I've lost businesses, and I'm actually still building a couple of others. It's not easy at all because you have some sort of uncertainty. You have to carry your market in your head. You have to be literally, you have to wear almost every hat in your company. You have to learn everything. You have to learn the laws. You have to learn the marketing. You have to learn the products. You have to learn the design. You have to learn the negotiation and interaction, everything. And um, it's not why it can be simple. It is not really easy, and I really want to encourage every entrepreneur out there. If you're an entrepreneur, whatever space you are, tech, agriculture, real estate, anyone at all, kudos to you. You are one of the driving forces of the economy of the country. Any country you are, you're one of the driving forces of the economy of the country. But because without cash flow, without capital expenditure, without creating businesses, the economy might not necessarily work. And you are there to make sure that these things work. Thumbs up to you. You are doing a really great job at being an entrepreneur. And in fact, you are doing your country a favor of being an entrepreneur. You are doing humanity a favor of being an entrepreneur because you're also employing people. You're ensuring that some people have food on the table and stuff like that. All right. So now about raising funding for your business. We know that there are basically two types of funding. There is the equity funding and then there's the debt funding. Now, what's the difference between the two of them? Let me start with the debt funding. The debt funding, let me start with the equity funding, sorry. Let me start with equity funding. Equity funding is such that you give out shares for in exchange for um, money, basically funding any types of financial instruments. It can be cash, it can be another equity, it can be anything. But let's focus on cash. Let's focus on cash for now. Now let's assume you form a company, right? And then um, the company makes bottled water, for instance. The company makes bottled water, and then we know that there are so many people that want to have water, right? They want to always take water and stuff like that. People would always want water, basically. So you form that company, but then you know that the machineries are expensive. Maybe you need like 20 million naira to start the company. And then you go out to somebody and you say, you know what, give me this 20 million naira. I'm going to give you 40% of this company. So the person now owns 40% of that company. By virtue of giving you that 20 million naira, it will be signed, and then there'll be something like a shareholders agreement. There'll be something like a share purchase agreement. These are legal documents that become legal when they sign, and they don't have to be a witness. You get most definitely a lawyer. So after having all of that, you can now say, okay. Now this person now owns part of this business, and then based on the shareholders agreement and the audio agreement that were then there, you can either now have, okay, the person can also be on the payroll as maybe an executive director, or at the end of every fiscal year, at the end of every quarter, the person gets his or her revenue. Dividend. Sorry, the person gets his or her dividend, and then that is mostly how equity this thing works. Another way that equity works is that maybe there is no dividend sharing. In that scenario, now it is now they would do a capital gains, for instance. Let's say the company is after capital gains in the sense that the investor wants the company to grow, and then after growing, he will sell his own shares, and then he make money from the sale of those shares, right? And that's capital gain because the person is in for the long term. The person is in for um for the future, right? Now that's capital gain kind of investment, but still equity. Now let's go over to what debt funding is. Now many people might say, okay, the other types of funding, but the truth is that most of the types of funding are enshrined in these two, either debt or equity. There are different types of debt funding, and there are also a few types of equity funding, right? But there are more types of debt funding and more types of equity funding. Now, for debt funding, you go to a person or institution or an entity. Let's use the word entity. Now, legally, entity can be a business, can be a person, can be a group of people coming together to have a JV, like a joint venture. Now you go there and you tell them, you know what, give me this debt, give me this loan. I want to put it in my business. This is what I want to do with the money. And then we would agree on the terms and conditions of this debt. Now, some of those conditions may or may not include things like a moratorium. A moratorium is a grace period that the loan will be that you will take the money, you would have the money as entrepreneur, but you will not pay any money, you will not pay maybe the principal or the interest or both. So the moratorium is basically a combination of you not paying the interest, or you not paying the principal, or you not paying the interest or the principal for a speculate for an agreed time. Then after which you now start paying principal and interest. Now some loans too, you do not pay interest on the loan, maybe like from family and friends. So and then they have many types of debts. They have short-term debts, they have long-term debts. So most debts are categorized in either of these two, either short-term debts or long-term debts. Short-term debts usually are debts that come to full maturity in a year, full maturity in a year, such as overdraft, bank overdraft, time loans, etc., etc., etc. Basically, if the time between when you take the money and when the money comes to fruition is 1 year, some people might say when in case there's a moratorium, when the moratorium expires to when you completely pay the money, the debt, it's 1 year. Then you can now say, okay, you know what, this is the time frame of the loan, right? And then the loan can now be okay. Now you're not paying down the loan. That's for a loan of 1 year. Now for long term loans, right? Normally some people say medium term and long term, but then mostly in Nigeria we just say short term and then long term loans. So for medium-term loans, for most people, they will say between from a year plus to 5 years, or from a year plus to 3 years. But from my own experience, what we usually call it is that the moment the loan passes past 1 year, it is now a long-term loan. It's not a long-term debt. And for most institutions, especially in this country, the loans usually run from between 1 year to 5 years. Most people will not want to give you a loan past 5 years because of so many types of instability, like economic instability, political instability, etc., 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 so that they can actually have control over their interest income or their speculations for their own company. You understand? Because these loan company, they maybe banks or whatever, they also have to do their own projection for their own sales. Okay. So now let us now still go over to now we've talked about, or we've explained what debt is. We've also explained what equity is. Now let us go over to let's go over to understanding how to now raise money for your business. How to now raise money for your business. Um, pardon me, let me have a sip of water. All right, so now let's go over to how to raise money for your business. So I'll start from one of the least to one of the highest form of raising money. Now, one of the least, some people will say angel investors. Now, angel investors are mostly people that are within your network. Although it can also be someone that is not within your network, but however, a person has to somehow know you to be able to trust you with that money. So angel investors are people maybe like friends and families that maybe you want to start a business to give you the money, maybe as a debt or as equity, whatever. So when they give you the money, you now go ahead to build the business and stuff like that. Now, second stage, some people will say venture capital. Venture capital are usually into now these days. Before, venture capital companies are usually interested in equity, but now they do a mix of equity and debt. Well, strange times. I mean, they say if the hunter has learned how to shoot with so much accuracy, if the bird have learned how to fly without perching, the hunter also have to learn how to shoot without stopping or something like that, or without shoot without aiming, and still kill the bird. So because of so many kind of things that venture capital firms have experienced in the past, they now have a mix of debt and equity and stuff like that. Now, so and then some people can also go to maybe investment banks. Sorry, the plane is kind of stuff. So sorry about the noise. That was, I think, a plane flying over where I stay. All right, so let's go back to what we're talking about there. What was I talking about now? All right. So for bigger kind of loans, you go to people like investment banks, you go to people like venture capital, you go to people like commercial banks, merchant banks, and stuff like that. Now, investment banks usually arrange investments between investors and an entrepreneur or the business, right? Now, the investment banks, they have a very large network and they have reputation, maybe due to their past record with the people on the board. They have that reputation of delivering on their speculations or whatever they want to deliver on to the network of investors who trust them, right? So, having said that, they arrange this kind of financing and then they get a fee for arranging that kind of financing. And then there's the commercial banks that gets their interest, there's the merchant bank gets their interest as well. I think merchant bank also does some sort of fee arrangement of some sort. So I mean, different stocks for different folks, right? So now let's now go back to how to now properly arrange this your company for investments. Now, one of the first things you need to do is to register your company so that your company can be on the map and the government map. Now, how do you register your company? You go to for Nigeria, you go to CAC website, or you contact a lawyer. You go there, there's a process, and then you go to register your company. Okay, you also search for the company name if the company name has been taken before. Pardon me, let me just sit properly. You search for the company name if the company name has been taken before, so that you don't just waste your time. If the company name has not been taken before, you now file for name retainership. That's for you to retain the name. And then if that is approved, you now go ahead to register your company name. Your company, sorry, you now register as a business name, sole proprietorship, or an LLC as limited liability company. Now you can register LLC by different means, either limited by shares or unlimited, whatever. But well, that's that about arranging stuff. Now you also need to go get your tax identification number, your tax identification number in Nigeria, and then you also need to get your tax pro max. I think tax pro max also has have a different number, something like that. And after that, you go ahead to register a opening bank account. Yeah, you guys open a bank account with the company and with the company documents. Now the bank account definitely would most likely have to be with a commercial bank or a merchant bank or both, but usually it happens with a commercial bank. And in my own opinion, it's best you have at least one account with one of the big banks, one of the big five banks, Fugas, First Bank, UBA, GT, Access, or Zenith Bank. The reason is because if these banks are too big to fail. Not that they can't fail, but if they fail, the CBN will most likely have to bail them out. Yes, it will affect the economy, but they'll have to bail them out because a lot of they are upon them lie a lot of companies, right? So if they close, a lot of companies also close, and the economy might have a lot of problems. So let's say you want to register with maybe another bank, maybe like tier two or tier three banks or other banks, it's best you have one of these five banks, the Fugas. You understand? They're like the big banks in Nigeria. Now, having said that, you can now say, okay, you know what, now let me now go back to my business and see. And the another step you now need to do to ensure that your business is ready to raise funding is to understand your business properly. When I mean understand your business properly, you might have to write a business plan. The business no note. A business plan is not the ultimatum, it's not the top bar, it's not like the biggest of the biggest thing you can do for your business. By the way, business plans change, your business pivots, you adapt to many different situation and many different things at different times. So because of the adaptation, you may have to switch up your business plan, and it's best you review your business plan every 3 months or every 6 months to know what you are doing, what you are not doing, and stuff like that. And also have a mind map, have a to-do list, have a project management schedule, and then there's so many things that people do not actually include in the business plan that's supposed to be in a business plan, such as a project management schedule, a mind map, and many other things like that, because these things make it a working document, as in a document that you have to refer to probably every week or every month, because in there lie the strategy and the workings of the business day-to-day activities. In fact, the business plan is even supposed to have SOP, standard operations procedure, in such a way that you have mastered your arts, and then now you now create a way that you can delegate things and train people. A business plan is also supposed to have a way to train people, because a business plan is really necessary to raise funding. Now, another thing you actually need to know is your financial model. Your financial model. Now, please, I beg you, be very um, true with your financial model. Let me explain what I mean by be very true with your financial model. Do not go about lying. I see a lot of people that they model stuff that are not possible. If the business will not work, please don't bend the financial model to make it work, because the financial model is based on the operations of on is based on monetizing the operations of the business or of the projected business. So you have a revenue. Okay, what is your cost? What is your salaries? And what are the salaries that are willing to pay? You understand? Considering minimum wage and government regulations. What are the cost of goods? So what is the cost of your logistics? Where are you bringing these things from? How much are they charging you? And then when you put all those things, if your profit is in negative, leave it in negative. The business is not profitable. Move on. Get another idea and do something else. The fact that you have an idea doesn't mean that the business has to work. So I see a lot of financial analysts. I'm a financial analyst myself. I have the CFI, that's Corporate Finance Institute, certificates, FMVA, Financial Modeling and Valuation Analyst, CBCA, Commercial Banking and Credit Analyst, and the FP, MW, known as Financial Planning and Wealth Management, FPWM, Financial Planning and Wealth Management. And I've also done some courses in data analytics, right? So being a professional myself, I see some business plans And I tell myself, who on earth did this? Why? Why lie? Why lie on a financial model when you know fully well that this business will not be profitable? Some businesses will not be profitable for the first 2 years, for the first 3 years even. But people will lie. Sorry for fainting. Now, having said that, let's now move on to valuation, the valuation of the business. Now, there's something called net present value of a company or of a business using the cash flow analysis method, discounted cash flow analysis method. Now, your business might be profitable, but because of the economic situation, such as the cost of debt, cost of equity kind of thing, your business does not have a positive NPV. That's net present value, meaning the business will be worth not invested in, basically, based on teachings and learnings that I have done in the past. Now, aside just the NPV being above zero, you can now NPV means net present value, by the way. You can also have a determinant such as if the NPV um, is less than the total investment amount, using also calculating time value of money and stuff like that, because you have to discount future monies back into the present. Yeah. So after you discount future monies back into the present, I check that okay, maybe you invested like 20 million for the case of the bottled water company. You invested 20 million naira, and then by the time you do your NPV, what you're getting is 18 million naira. You know that the worth of the business or the worth of that 20 million you put in that water butter company with the operation model you've modeled is 19 million, meaning you would just be wasting 1 million naira now, meaning that business is not necessarily worth investing in. Of course, we still have terminal value of money, and then we have enterprise value. We also have equity value. So these are things that these are some metrics, and then we also have ratio analysis. I think there's something called the 2 point analysis where we have primary ratios, secondary ratios, and tertiary ratios, such as we have return on investment, we have profitability ratios, we have DSCR, and debt service coverage ratio, we have current ratio, we have quick ratio, and many things to determine if the business is worth investing in. So you really have to look at all of these things to be sure that this business you're investing in is worth investing in. And then, well, for tech companies, it can be tougher because uh, things tend to be wavy. So there are a lot of more uncertainties in tech companies. So very different. Now you've understood business plan. You've understood your modeling and your financial modeling. Another thing you need to get ready before you start raising investment is your data room, because most investors will ask for it. Now, what is a data room? A data room is like a file or a folder. Yes, a folder, usually in the cloud or in your. It can also be in your computer, your hard drive, anywhere. The data room has all the documents that you'll be needing to show investors. Now, some of these documents are all the legal documents such as shareholders agreement, performance agreement, and all those many agreements. Your statutory documents, that's such as your CAC, your tax identification stuff, your business plan, your financial model, your your shareholders, which is your CAC, by the way. Then things like your off-takers, your current customers, your current financials, if you're already making money. If you're not already making money, expression of interest from potential off-takers, you also need that. So after having the data room, you can also look online to check what should be in the data room. So some people have lists, you understand. Although some financial institutions we require more, some of them will require less. And then you also need a work plan, you also need your SOP, standard operating procedures and stuff like that. So you see, raising funding takes work, but if you get these things right, I mean, you're most likely to have you're most likely to raise funding in due time. Now, another thing that you need to have in place is your audit, your company's audit. If your company already have if your company already have revenue, you you need to audit your company so that investors can see how well you're doing. If they would now invest more money, or if they would tell you they don't want to invest money. So you need to edit your company. However, if you've not started revenue, you've not started making money. Now, audit can also be social media audit, maybe like your numbers of followers and all those many things, people, your interactions online, and all those many things like that. So after your audit and stuff, you can now say, okay, no, let me now what's something that was in my head now? So after you make your audits, if your company does not have revenue, you can now say, okay, you know what, let me work on my marketing. Now, your marketing and your sales. So we know that sales doesn't happen until there's money in your account. So just know everything you are doing before the money enters your account is marketing. Until you close that deal, until you have that signature, you've not sold anything. Trust me. In my opinion, you've not sold anything. You're just marketing. So um hmm. All right. So your company doesn't have revenue. How can you now raise money? Through marketing and having things like offtake agreements. Now, let me give an instance of the water bottle company the fictitious water bottle company that we talked about earlier. You before you create the water bottle company and stuff like that, you can go to wholesalers and tell them that, see, I want to create, I want to establish a water bottle company. You buy a pack of water bottle for 2,000 naira. I am willing to sell it to you for 1,950 naira, taking 50 naira off the plate, right? You reach an agreement with them basically, and then you tell them, you know what, I want a letter on your letterhead saying that you are willing to buy from me the moment I start production. So yes, it actually does go a long way. Now you've market, you've not sold because the money haven't changed hands. However, they have expressed their interest to buy from you, meaning to close the sales with you. And that gives investors assurance that you have people that are willing to buy from you, that are willing to close sales with you. So you also put that expression of interest or expression of purchase in your data room for investors to see or for prospective investors to see. So having said all of this, it is really, really important. It is, I mean, very important, extremely important that you have all of these things checked out. Very important that you have all of these things checked out, and so that you can properly raise funding. Now, one of the final thing I will say here about raising funding, which for most people is actually the most important, is network. Networking. Sorry, sorry for that noise. Is networking. Now, many people will say, okay, why not the whole? I mean, if networking is so important, then why do we do business plan and all those many things? See, let me tell you the truth. In this game, the landscape has kind of changed, right? People usually attach emotional and sentimental value to people, especially for to people that they know or people that know people that they know. You understand? So if you know the CEO of an investment bank, for instance, maybe you met him in a conference and then you approach him and say, I want to raise funding. And then he says, okay, no more get me all these things. And he sees that you're diligent and all those many things. It would be more convenient for him to now want to push your agenda, your company agenda, to raise funding for your company. So networking is very important. Now, one of the things that you really need to understand for networking purpose is get a lot of clothes, a lot of good clothes. If possible, get suits, get native attires, and make sure they iron, make sure they smell nice, so that you can make good impressions when they meet you. Then another thing you should understand is have a business card. Now, where you work might not necessarily have a business card, but have a business card, and your business card should not be ambiguous. If you're the MD, you're the MD. If you're the CFO, you're the CFO. Don't go ahead saying MD slash CFO slash head of this. Calm down. Hmm? Make your business plan simple, make it attractive, and then have follow up meetings with them. Follow up valuable meetings with them so that you can, I mean, when it is time to raise that funding of yours, you can now properly raise the funding, right? Okay. So, having said all of this, if you have any question or any contribution, do well to use the comment section to make your contribution or your questions, and I will endeavor to respond to your messages, hopefully. And I hope you did have valuable time here. If you did, please subscribe to this channel so that more people would learn about what I just said now, and then more businesses will be in a good position to raise funding. All right. So another thing is I am open to consultation. So if you want to consult me, um, my LinkedIn name is Allwell Ejirika. I am on LinkedIn. Just the same way this channel's name is Allwell Ejirika. Just type Allwell Ejirika on LinkedIn and you'll see me there. That's my LinkedIn name. And thank you. Do have a lovely day. Stay blessed.